Hi, welcome everyone to our channel. Um, we here talk with doctors, and we have our esteemed guest, Dr. Jigyansepsita Patnaik, who is a distinguished psychiatrist and a researcher with over a decade of clinical experience in treating stress, anxiety, and mental disorders. She has also dedicated her career to developing evidence-based interventions for stress management and mental wellness. And she has much more uh, experience and much more to which, if I share, then the video will be too long. So I'll post it in the description below the video. And myself, I am an engineer with around a decade of experience in the IT industry. So, without further ado, um let's welcome Dr. Jigyasa. Dr. Jigyasa, welcome once again to our channel, and I'm really glad you could join us today once again.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Okay, today is going to be a serious topic. Today's topic is going to be about PTSD and psychosis. So, uh, First of all, can you explain what are these?
So I'll talk from my experience because when people come to us, they say there is a behavior change. Something is wrong with, like my friend, my colleague, my relative, my daughter, my son, whatever. And when we talk about PTSD or psychosis, it's very difficult for a common man to understand what's the difference, right? Because both of them, it seems like they have lost it. Something's wrong with me. People usually say he or she is behaving like a psycho. So these are the commonalities based on which people usually come. So I think the question is very valid in such scenario because when you see your loved one having a changed behavior, it's difficult to diagnose. So that comes in us to diagnose the condition. But if we have a basic understanding about what is PTSD and what is psychosis, so PTSD is primarily post traumatic stress disorder. So it's related to a trauma. So it is post traumatic. So definitely there has to be some very dangerous exposure to a trauma. So when we talk about PTSD, it's like something that is very life threatening. For example, suppose you met with an accident and you were just about to die, or someone you actually saw who died. So that kind of a trauma is usually needed to cause a reaction like PTSD because it's a very serious form of, I would say, a stress reaction. So what happens in PTSD is their alarm system gets triggered and it's like stuck in the danger mode where uh, a lot of reminders about trauma keep coming, what we say as flashbacks. They keep revisiting the scenario. It feels as if it's happening right now in front of your eyes. So that kind of a reaction is called PTSD. So they avoid driving altogether or maybe going to the road altogether. So there is a very strong avoidance. And then sometimes there's something called hypervigilance. Matlab, anyone in the family, if they're going out or driving or something like that, so they'll be very, hypervigilant. Is everything okay? They'll keep calling repeatedly. So there's something called a hypervigilant state. So these are the usual symptoms which, when we cluster it, it's called the PTSD. But what happens in PTSD is the reality contact is intact. So what I mean by reality contact is like they know what is real and what is unreal. They know right now nothing is happening. So if you just call them and say them, like, hi, what happened? So they'll say, I'm again getting those flashbacks. I'm again getting reminded of it. So they will know what is real and what is not real. So that is preserved in people who have PTSD. So what happens in psychosis is like there is a break from reality. Uh, they're not able to understand what is real and what is unreal. For example, what happens is people might start hearing voices that are not there or seeing things and people which are not there, and they will believe them to be real. So It's like called a delusion. They might be having a very abnormal belief that, like someone is trying to kill me, someone is talking about me, although everyone is good. Matlab, you ask other people, other family members, they'll be saying that no, no, everything is fine. Like nothing wrong. They care about you. I don't find anything problem. But this particular person strongly believes no, there is something wrong going on. In this part of the country, like in the eastern part of the country, there is a lot of belief around black magic as well, where people believe in Guni and black eye, devil eye. So those kind of belief systems are also deeply ingrained. But they will not be able to say like why that person is going to harm you. But they'll say from the way they talk, I know this is how it is. From the way they, like there was a secret communication, you will not understand. So they'll be a bit defensive about it. So the reality contact about what is real, what is not real, they believe their belief system to be real and start suspecting everyone else around them. So that is what basically happens in psychosis. So the primary construct there is hallucinations, delusions, and then maybe cross disorganization in thinking process. So all of this happens.
Okay. You clearly mentioned about how PTSD can occur, but you did not mention how psychosis can occur. Can you?
Yeah, I think that's a very big chapter in all of our books also to read, because what causes psychosis exactly is something which is very difficult to understand. But if you want me to simplify it for your viewers, what I can say is there are some vulnerability factors, something that predisposes you to developing a disorder. Like, for example, you have a family history of someone who has a psychotic illness, or some family history of um, maybe any sort of psychiatric disorder. If that is there, that is something which can predispose you to developing psychosis. At the same time, you might be vulnerable to develop psychosis based on your own temperament or the way you handle your own stress. For example, some people they try to act out. Like, for example, suppose your exam results are out and you don't believe the results, something went wrong. So people behave differently, right? Someone might be like, no, no, someone has manipulated my marks. Someone says, no, no, there might be a mistake. Someone might have forgotten to check a particular answer. So there might be different explanations about why a problem occurred. And you, because of your own temperament or your own personality, you tend to react in a particular way. So we have people who are generally suspicious. They'll keep suspecting everyone. Nee, 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 nee. So they are paranoid. So those kind of characteristics, if they're there, and there is a stressful event in life, that might result in a psychotic breakdown. Having said this, there is not a mathematical equation like this plus this will be psychosis. It's always a permutation combination of very different factors. There's some genetic factors that are known to cause psychosis, but then in the same family also not everyone, like suppose both the parents are psychotic, so both the children may or may not have psychosis. So there are some protective factors also which play a role. So it's a very complex and complicated relationship about what exactly precipitates an episode. Some substances are known to precipitate. For example, you take cannabis and you have a family history of schizophrenia. So that can precipitate an episode. So yes, so it's like that. It's a bit complicated. Yeah.
Yep. It is complicated.
Yeah.
So let's move over. Let's make it less complicated
Okay.
for me, but for you, it might be more complicated. So how do you differentiate if a patient comes in, if he or she is suffering from PTSD or psychosis?
Okay. So I think you mean me to clarify, want me to clarify about what are the symptoms or what a patient says that will help me understand if it is PTSD or psychosis. So usual set of symptoms.
General question, generic question, like how do you, you are a specialist, so how do you, you do not have to teach me medical because I am from engineering background. It will take me a decade to go to your level if I can, if I might. But yes, but
Um,
your level, uh, like how do you differentiate between if a patient is actually suffering from PTSD or psychosis?
Yeah. So we go by three steps. The first is the symptoms, like what the family brings the patient with. Ours is a society where people understand at least the behavior outcomes, if not the what happens inside, but at least how they act out outside. For example, people who have psychosis, they'll be very guarded. They'll not talk to people about it. They'll be very secretive. They'll try to hide everything. They'll just suspect people and not open up. So that kind of a behavior is more common in psychosis. Very rarely people do get violent in terms of, for example, I have a suspiciousness towards my relative, suppose my brother-in-law per se. So what will happen is I might get violent towards him if I believe that he might cause me harm. So that is how psychosis usually presents. So we see a set of symptoms which have suspiciousness, fearfulness, talking to their own self because sometimes they hear voices or they see people around. So they might be talking to them, communicating with them. So that's like self muttering or maybe actually hallucinatory behavior that can happen. It usually presents with a lot of behavior problems characterized by irritability, anger outburst, without any trigger, acting out. And definitely biological functions like sleep and appetite are most of the time impaired. So that is a set of symptoms for people who have a psychosis. What happens in PTSD? Because the trauma that we are talking about in PTSD is something which is extraordinary, like losing a life or at the verge of life threatening situations, or sometimes even sexual abuse can cause PTSD. So, that kind of a situation, the trauma is very, very evident on face. So, there is a very clear history about exposure to that trauma, and following that, there is a sequence of behavior changes. And the behavior changes are characterized by, like mood tolerance. They're always very scared. They do not want to go out. So there is a very clear avoidance. At the same time, a lot of anxiety about hypervigilance, repeatedly talking about the trauma or repeatedly saying that those flashbacks are coming into my mind. I don't want to think about it. I'll tell you that movie which happened, Tara Rampam, what was that? Where Saif Ali Khan was a like
Karan,
the racer. Yeah. So what happened after that is whenever he was driving at a very high speed, you remember those kind of memories were coming back. So it's like that intrusive kind of memories keep coming. So that kind of a history, the patient is very clearly willing to talk about it. They're not very secretive also because there's nothing to hide. They're not at fault. So when we see that set of symptoms and there is a very clear hyperarousal, like they might be having panic attacks at times also. They might be hyperventilating. Their pulse rate may be high. The BP might be fluctuating. And in addition to that, there might be others like they might not be able to sleep at night because those memories keep coming. So that is a cluster of symptoms which people with PTSD have. So that is symptoms. And when we talk with them about this, what goes on with them, they're very open to talk about it. And what we find there is called flashbacks uh, and a predominant preoccupation about it. So that is how PTSD presents. At the baseline, if we compare the two, here the reality contact is present. They will identify you as you. They will identify their family members. They will know this is real, this is not real. This is what is true, this is what is false. But in psychosis, what happens at the baseline is that the reality contact is lost. Like who is real, who is not real, which voice is real, which person is real, which person is a false imaginary person because of the hallucination. They'll not be able to distinguish that. So that is a primary difference. And this is how the two scenarios are very different actually.
but I think that was quite insightful. Okay. Mm. So, I think when people face with this kind of challenges, many of their families or friends or surrounding people come up with uh, saying that uh, with the power of willpower or forget it, and um, it can be like uh, love breakup, like just forget it, don't think about it. But those kind of people statistically are more prone to this kind of PTSD or psychosis. So what is your say about that?
Yes. So if you are trying to ask, uh, if I try more, will I get better? So People usually say that, right? Bhul jao, forget it, come out of it, just try a little more, work harder. So I want to make this disclaimer very clear. Neither PTSD nor psychosis will respond to willpower alone, right? Both of them are very, very real, and that involves a lot of structural and chemical brain changes that require treatment. So PTSD involves a lot of changes in there's a part of the brain called the limbic system, which includes the amygdala, hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, different parts of the brain, and there are real structural changes there. And psychosis involves very clear alterations in the brain hormones like dopamine. So when we have something that is very, very biological, how can I just try with some effort try and do it? Obviously, a lot of your own effort is required in the process of recovery, but that alone, I'm afraid, will be just enough. So that is why those kind of statements are also very, very, it makes the person feel very low at times because they say that I'm trying my best, but I'm not able to do it. And when someone else comes and say, try a little harder, like sometimes it's a lot of stress on them and they actually decompensate. So we have seen people who come to us, they try every way possible to handle it, but um, sometimes it needs professional help. Yeah. Um, Maybe what a word for the caregivers who deal with close people who are dealing with it. They require very proper medical intervention and not your moral judgment, saying that you're weak, you should be strong, just forget it. Those kind of statements I know are in good intention usually, but is it helpful? Is it something that is helping? May not be. So can we just refrain from making such statements and can we seek professional help early? Is something that you can think about.
Got it. Is it possible to recover from uh, this kind of symptoms or diseases? Okay, first of all, are they disease or are they a condition? How do you describe them?
Yeah. So when we talk about any clinical entity, in terms of psychiatry or our diagnostic criteria, so the term that is there is PTSD itself is a post traumatic stress disorder. It is a disorder, it is in the name per se. Similarly, when we talk about psychosis, the term that we use is psychotic disorder. So both of these things are brain disorders, right? So when we talk about a disorder, what we mean is it also happens in the normal continuum also. Like for example, when anyone is exposed to any form of trauma, so sometimes you also get experience some form of anxiety, some form of avoidance. You're also at your hyper alert state. But if that kind of a situation persists for at least more than a month, it causes significant dysfunction that you're not able to study, not able to go to work. Only then we say it is a PTSD. So, post trauma, there can be a lot of problems that can happen, and not necessarily everything is PTSD. Only when it is severe enough that you're not able to function, you're not able to sleep, not able to eat, not able to go out, not able to work, only when then we say it is a PTSD. Similarly, for psychosis, sometimes you also experience when you have your phone in your pocket. Is it vibrating? You get that kind of a sense, right? Sometimes you also feel, is my phone ringing? But you go and check, and then when you check, you're assured that thought does not keep continuing in your brain that yes, this is something which is happening. So those kind of intermittent hallucinations can also happen in about the statistics is 15% of the population. But when it is persistent, pervasive, and that causes a dysfunction. Because of that, you're not going out because you hear voices of people outside. You're not willing to go out, not willing to talk to people, not willing to even work, study, write exams, and all of that. So because it causes significant dysfunction, it persists for more than a month, more than 6 months, depending on what disorder we are talking about. That is when we label them as disorder, and that is when you need help, right? So if I'm clear, what kind of help? And the first question was, do they get better? Yes, the very positive or the thing that raises a lot of hope is both of these disorders do get better with treatment, right? How long does it take? For acute psychosis, like for psychotic disorders which are less than a month, they usually start responding within weeks, and almost in 6 months we expect a near recovery, right? So they're almost back to functioning if it is a very short duration of illness. But yes, if the duration of untreated illness is prolonged, like they come to you after 5 years of having psychosis. So in that situations, maybe yes, then also does the treatment work? Yes, it works. But will they come back to baseline is something that we have to see in a case to case basis, right? Similarly, for PTSD or post traumatic stress disorder, people start to improve in the initial few weeks of seeking therapy or medications. We have very good set of medications depending on what symptom you experience. And yes, with medications, your quality of life starts improving, but it takes a little bit longer time to recover, almost 6 months to a year to reach recovery. But yes, it's possible. They do get better. But does that mean it'll never come back? Not necessarily, but you'll be better equipped to handle it if at all those memories come back again. So that is how I would say it.
Yes, I think yes, it will also be very difficult for the family and the nearby love givers to handle it. So, any final statements that you would like to give regarding the people or the uh, family who go through this rough uh, stretch of road, like anything you want to guide them through, or um, maybe educate them. I
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'll summarize whatever I said in maybe three statements, right? The first is neither PTSD nor psychosis makes you dangerous, crazy, or you should be hopeless about it. They are medical conditions and there are treatments available for recovery. As a loved one, what I would say you is your understanding and compassion can actually be life changing for someone struggling with mental health challenges. And the more accurately you understand these conditions, the better support we provide. So, what I would say is if you really want to help your loved one going through this, recognize symptoms early. You can educate yourself, encourage professional assessment as soon as possible. Suppose you have a doubt, it's better to seek a consultation and get clear. Yeah, nothing, it's a normal process. Challenge misconceptions if you hear them in your community. Someone says, yo, that is crazy, you should go to the faith healer, you should go there, this. Please challenge misconceptions when possible in your community level, and please spread this message across. There are real treatments available. Yeah. Get informed about trauma informed care, recovery oriented approaches, and support the positive message around that recovery is possible. And all of us should aim towards that. Yeah.
okay, great. Thank you for your lovely words. I think many of our people should hopefully get more educated or at least informed about it. Is of course, I think, their decision. Um but yes, as you said, the loved ones carry a lot of burden. I think we'll be talking about that in the some other day. Sorry, excuse me. But yes, thank you for your very much informative uh, insight about this serious topic. I think many of the people, I think, do not know about this currently, but are going through this. Uh, I think you are aware of it. So thank you once again. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for informing about what we should do when we see such things. Yep.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you next time.